So BTC is still under some major resistance. The altcoins are still bleeding, but we have seen that there are a couple of whales buying certain tokens. I don't know, are they mad or are they making a mistake here? So guys, we're going to look at some of those tokens that the guys have bought. We're obviously going to cover current market sentiment. We're going to cover what I'm thinking at the moment and how we are dealing with this current mess, guys. It's messy out there and we got tons to talk about. Let's get right into it. And remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. And I've got a special guest for you today. I brought in my gun, okay? And he's looking at a couple of entries for us as well. So we got a couple of setups. There he is, ready to go. DJ and Dave in the house. And James is also bringing us a couple of things here. He's got comments on silver. And there was something else I asked you to take a look at today. I actually can't even remember. It might have been ETH, but he's going to talk to us about it in a couple of secs. So looking forward to that. Let's go Banter Bubbles. Absolute filth again. And 𝗂𝗬𝗟𝗟𝗡𝗦, B-E-R-A, 𝗂𝗬𝗟 chain. We're talking about it. Okay, we're talking about it. It's up 18%. It was an airdrop. There's action now on the charts. Let's see. We'll talk around that thing. Virtual, right-hand side. Negative 21%. Disgusting what is going on here. But are we finally getting our 618s or our wick visits to the lows on some of these alts? Now, remember, we've had this dump that we've had this dump that we've seen before. We had the massive sell-off. What happens next? Okay, we often get a pump. Then what happens after that is we tend to come back and fill those wicks. Is this the moment now? Are these wicks getting filled to the lows? Are they getting filled to 618s? We're going to take a look at them, guys. But if you're panicking, don't panic. Okay, it's okay. We've got a plan. All right. Okay, so all over filth. Okay, I think that's the best way to explain it. Let's talk BTC. And let's see what they currently have in store for us. So this is what I've been telling hackers today. And I think I confirmed this yesterday with you guys. The action zones for me on BTC have to be these yellow circles. That's really where we're looking at shorts. And that is really where we are looking at higher conviction long plays, if they are going to happen. Now, we're not enjoying the look of BTC at the moment. But I think in terms of what has happened over the last couple of hours, we know that BTC was under major resistance. I covered this for you guys well yesterday. We spoke about the 99K level on the daily chart being a major area. Then I dialed in for the chart hackers today. I was looking at order blocks in the zone, 50-day MA. We picked up bearish divergences on the 15 minutes. We picked up reversals on the 1 hour. And now I'm looking at the 2-hour chart on BTC. And you can see there's hidden bearish divergence on the 2 hour. So that is still pointing us a little bit more to the downside. So obviously, this market is very temperamental. The market is very choppy. And you can see in terms of what has just happened in the last couple of days, if you're trading high leverage, you're getting chopped up. Okay, myself included. It's absolute mess out there. So essentially what I'm looking for is ideally a reset on the 1 hour or the 2 hour oscillator. And where can that take us? So, zone number one for me has got to still be this 95K region. Anything down to that 100-day moving average as well could make sense to us. So 95,500 down to, call it 94,600. That's an interesting zone. Then the next reaction zone for us is going to be this 93,500. Could see something there. Depends how hard they push this down. And then obviously, guys, if we're going to fill the wicks, that will be a full wick fill. I don't want to know what these altcoins are going to look like when we are down there. It's not going to be pretty. And depending on dominance, they might actually start losing some levels. So we at a position now where you need to decide what your bias is. But what I can tell you for sure is this is not the time to be aping massive size. This is still the time to be cautious whatever you are doing, to dial down the leverage, avoid getting chopped up. So what I'm essentially looking at is a couple of these alts holding some of their 618s, some of their lows. With that bias in mind, I'm going to start building a couple of positions now that we have finally got the sell-off to the downside. So that is going to be my strategy. But the danger of the strategy is that the lows don't hold and they send us even lower, and then we get put under more pressure. So just understand, as I'm talking through all this stuff with you guys today, just understand your risks that are involved in these types of strategies. Okay, there is your BTC plan to the downside. And then just in terms of upside moves, if they come and surprise us later today, I just want to make sure you guys know the levels, and any pumps you can see. Our horizontal to the upside is still 99K problem. Then if we do get a hard push, look for that wick into just above 100K, possible rejection there, and then any further action 102,700. Now, I'm not expecting much more than that to the upside and that to the downside for now. But tomorrow is a new day, okay? And we will check it out. Dave, what are you seeing? What are you seeing at the moment? Are you watching these types of time frames? What are you looking at right now?
Man, I'm looking at everything. You know, it's with so much red. I said it last week on the show, right? Everything was green. I gave that spell short. Hopefully, you guys made some money on that. So my mindset now is like we're seeing a sea of red. And for me, it's always opportunity, right? I'm looking at all of these levels. I'm scanning through all these tokens. You know, I've got a session here with the chart hackers in about an hour and 15 minutes, and seeing some decent stuff out there. Obviously, there's a lot of tokens out there that are probably going to go to zero, right? We know this. There's probably not this altcoin season that we're all expecting, but obviously there are some tokens that, like you were saying, these market makers are accumulating, and we need to know which ones those are. And we should build some decent small leverage positions on those. And just make, you know, to me, this is opportunity. We got to find the opportunity.
So, yeah, I think the ultimate fear is normally when we get these moments. If we don't take these moments, you will never know, right? If the market starts ripping, then we'll be, well, fuck, we didn't react when we should have. Obviously, there's the risk it goes lower, but that is where we'll react lower down. Okay, we're going to bring Dave back in a couple of secs. I'm going to run through a couple of news events and things going on out there. And I see Tindo says even hype is making us sweat. Now, I did drop a potential hype head and shoulders short setup for you guys in Chart Hackers today. That is something we're going to look for on the next hype pump. There could be a nice little short coming. I'm just reading the chats here. Cosmo the Wonder Dog says it's time to sit on your paws. Guys, it really is rough out there, but we finally got that the big move down now. These alts have been consolidating on 382s. Now we're getting a push down. So this could be leading into an opportunity for us. Okay, let's go. Who's feeling like this right now? Okay, me. I've been in crypto since 2016. Hey, wow, you must be so rich. Who's feeling like that right now? Who's got these vibes? So it's rough out there, guys, boys and girls. Here's Link says 8-hour work, 8 hours sleep, 8 hour losing money in crypto. Guys, that is the environment. These shit posts are getting made right now. That is also telling us this could be an opportunity brewing. Now, it's the same principle every time. We get the dump, we get the pump, and then we get the slow bleed. We get the chop. We've seen this a million times before. Now, Cointelegraph, this is a little bit bearish. They said 71% of institutional traders do not plan to invest in Bitcoin or crypto in 2025. Now, that's a little bit of a concern. Down from 78% last year, says JP Morgan. So that is not the best situation we've ever seen in terms of sentiment from their polling. Okay, now we don't know how many people they asked. We don't know who they asked, but you know, that is their poll. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. Then make gold great again. Now, James actually sent this to me earlier. And he says 33 million ounces of real silver just got withdrawn from SLV vaults in 2 weeks. 99% of borrowable SLV shares have gone. Big money is racing for the exit. Something is brewing. James, what is going on here? Talk to me about this thing.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's seen the gold chart. Everyone's talking about it because it's selling like crazy. It's hitting new all-time highs all the time. And not only is this paper trading, you know, this isn't paper silver and gold. People are taking their physical silver and gold, right? They're taking custody of it. There's a big difference. It's one thing to trade the stuff on the markets, another one to take self-custody to hold in your own vault at home, right? And it's just a sign that investors are nervous. They're not sure what's going on with the market. And we can see that in the charts too. Having gold screaming like this just goes to show everybody's nervous.
Look, it's nervous times. Now, I see Arctic Trading says ENA long, baby. Now, Dave was actually talking to me offline about ENA. Now, we were looking at this filth ENA yesterday at some sell-offs there, and we were looking at some deep levels. But Dave's actually showed me an interesting chart earlier, so maybe we should look at that at some point, Dave, if you do have that ENA available. Now, Mr. Crypto, I just want to give you guys a little bit of bull source. He says Bitcoin liquidation events usually or always mark a bottom. During the latest crash, 8 billion has been liquidated. Likely a bottom again. Now, he's given you a beautiful chart. He's explaining, when these things happen, we get a nice bounce. We shouldn't be, too bearish in these types of conditions. We should have been bearish after the last pump. For example, Robin says, I'm buying PopCat instead of gold. I agree. I'm in it for the tech. Fundamentally, what an absolute bang. I don't know, guys. Fartcoin, I actually bought some Fartcoin using my futures bonus from Albank today. Hopefully, they're not going to end me. I'm going to show you that Fartcoin chart. I think there's an opportunity coming on Fartcoin. I just wanted to remind you guys, James, I mean, you obviously know about this one, but the FTX repayments start in 2 weeks. So we spoke about this yesterday. It's nice, but it doesn't help us today. Okay, but we do know later on there is some FTX liquidity coming into the market, and then this has been floating around Twitter as well. The Hong Kong boys and girls, okay, they're looking for their own strategic Bitcoin reserve. So this stuff is obviously catching a bit of a vibe at the moment, and everybody is talking about it. Then Michael Saylor. His new business, his new name, okay, Strategy with a Bitcoin sign, has outperformed all major assets and S&P 500 stocks because of Bitcoin. Anybody surprised there? No. No surprises there on that one. Okay, let's take a look at MicroStrategy stock, and just for the sake of it, let's see where we are. So here is MicroStrategy, and let's take a look. So on the daily, you can see what's going on. This thing did print some kind of hidden divergence, and it has been trending lower on the oscillator, so that is pushing down. It's obviously, I'd say, heavily weighted in favor or against the Bitcoin price at the time. Now, obviously, when Bitcoin is pumping, this thing should do a little bit better, but in terms of where we are now, it is looking like it could want to visit a couple of lows here, just like Bitcoin at the moment. So a couple of areas of interest for the MicroStrategy guys. You can see we've got these horizontals here at 320. I do have the 100-day MA at 300, but in terms of another potential bounce zone for me, round about this 280 region could be interesting. You can see we might just take out these types of guys over there. So again, it depends how deep and dark they send Bitcoin, but I think it's fairly linked to BTC at the moment. I think it's a fair call at the moment. And Carlos says, guys, prepare your bags. We're all going to Mars and never coming back. Oh, I'd appreciate that. I would appreciate that. And Cosmo says everything is shitting the bed. Okay. Okay, James, what did I ask you to talk about? It was ETH. I think it was.
Right. Yeah. Just Ethereum.
Okay, I'm going to bring you back in a sec. Okay. I'm bringing you back now. Okay. Just remind me. Okay. Let's go. Remember, guys, if you are tracking stocks, it is now available on Banter Bubbles. Look at that. You just click the stocks button. Go there at the top there, crypto on the left, stocks on the right, and you can see what is going on. Now, wouldn't it be nice and pleasant if crypto could turn green like this? I mean, the stocks charts are looking amazing. Meta, I think they did 13 green days in a row, something amazing like that. That thing is still green. Uber's up. And you guys remember, I am bringing you stock trading in the next couple of weeks. I'm bringing on a platform, and we're going to be trading stocks. So be ready, get warmed up. The stuff is going to be going down with you guys soon. And then in terms of the S&P, you can see we are grinding higher. And this is our second green day so far. Okay, so we've had a nice bounce off our 50-day. That is still our support, 6,000. And look, nice and green. Okay, wouldn't it be nice if they could do the same for BTC? And one more bit of bull source for you guys. I just want to make you feel a little bit better. Immortal dropped a couple of things here. He says, picture one, bear market accumulation, then comes rally, then comes consolidation, then comes expansion. Now he's looked at the previous time in 2021, and now he's comparing it to where we are today. And there's a little bit of hopium here for you guys. For whoever is feeling a bit of pain, there's a little bit of hopium there for some upside on BTC. So wouldn't that make sense if we do push up to the 200K region? Now we know we got a lot of guys calling some big numbers on BTC. I showed you a video yesterday with Dan Moorhead, and he appears to be keen on some Moorhead there, and he's talking about 750. So we'll get round to that. Now, let's, Adam says, I'm in hell, pooping myself. Why? Guys, it's a mess out there. It really is. It's not fun, easy trading conditions. But remember, after the chop, we always get a little bit of fun. So just hang in there. It is coming. Let's go BTC on the daily. And just to remember, yesterday we said, if we are closing under this major 99K level, it's potentially a bit bearish for us. Now we're getting our rejection. They are pushing us down. And you can see I'm waiting for this just reset on my oscillator. So as soon as we can get some kind of reset here, I think then we'll be able to start looking a little bit more bullish in terms of BTC. But right now, it's all about where's this thing going to bounce. And if you look at this on the daily, you can see there's a couple of clear daily levels here. Let's not lose faith in that. So that is 96K. You can see that on the daily. And then lower down, I've got my 100-day moving average. Look at that guy as well in this big cluster zone here of daily candles. Look at that. Tons of action going on in those levels. So that is about 95K that we are watching in terms of the daily. And I see Faisal says, guys, the market is reversing tonight. This is the last flush on altcoins. I can't disagree with that statement. It is possible that we're going to hold these 618s or 786s or these lows in the next couple of hours, and then we might start reversing. So just hang in there, guys. Just hang in there. And Carlos says buy Fartcoin and be filthy rich. I mean, maybe not. Okay, we're gonna look at Fartcoin in a second, guys. Okay. In terms of, or Eric Trump telling everyone to buy Bitcoin again, okay? In terms of positions, I've had to cut a lot of mine. So I've just got mainly my shorts left, and I'm going to start exiting some of these shorts now, okay? It was a filthy ride. I didn't enjoy cutting some of those longs, but I don't want to sit in a position where we get like some massive sell-off now and we get absolutely killed. So I'm going to start again now. I'm going to start clipping off some of these shorts that you can see have now turned green. I mean, even Litecoin that we looked at yesterday, that thing is now nice and green. So I'm going to start closing some of these head shorts, and then I'm going to start flipping into a couple of longs here in some areas. You can see Popcat is one of them that I've just started. Again, very, very speculative, guys, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you the thought process behind it, but I think it's time to start getting ready to maybe start moving out of all these shorts and start pushing into a couple of longs. So that is the current game plan for me at the moment. And Ali Chart says capital continues to flow out of Bitcoin and ETH into stable coins. No signs of alt season yet. I agree. Okay, not great. And let's take a look at our USDT. Okay, pushing into our resistance box again. So those of you who saw this yesterday, we did have a pump into our rejection zone and we reversed. Now we are going back again. What did we bounce off today that put us under pressure? Look at that. Horizontals came into play again. USDT respecting a regular chart and bouncing back up. Okay, so giving us a little bit of a hard time at the moment, and that is draining the whole market. Remember, this is not Bitcoin dominance, this is USDT dominance. So it's sucking liquidity out of the tokens, Bitcoin and the altcoins. So a little bit of pressure here, but in terms of reversal, this is a possible reversal zone now for USDT dominance. Then a little bit higher up, we've got 4.74 as your next reaction zone and 4.88. These are all typical zones where the market could start pumping again, even if it's short term. So it could be right now, or it could be in that area, for example. That is what you're going to be looking for, guys. And I see JF says chart hackers is the place to be. Look, I must say the scalpers, our scalper team in chart hackers is really coming onto their own now in these choppy conditions. They're having such a blast at the moment changing these different sessions. And I was looking at some of those P&Ls today. The guys are trading small moves, but they're getting action out there. So if you guys want to scratch an itch and you want to be scalping small moves and things like that, we have our trading team in our trading zone there for you guys on chart hackers. So come and join us, get stuck in there if you want some of that action. You'll also learn a couple of interesting things. I'm learning from these guys as well. There's a couple of interesting things going on there. Rec Capital. Now, we spoke about this yesterday. Somebody dropped it in the chats. I think it was Matty. He dropped it in the chats for us yesterday. And Bitcoin dominance, the strongest alt seasons have occurred every time Bitcoin dominance rejected from 71%. Okay, now that is fucking scary. Okay, now, I mean, that is not a good vibe. 71% BTC dominance is not something we really want to see, because look at the size of this move just to 64%. Okay, now we don't want to go much deeper and darker than that. Let's look where 71% is. Well, mine was 73, but that 71 is going to be absolutely filthy in that region. So that is a super bearish idea there. But in terms of how does that happen? Well, you know, typically a lot of that could happen with a massive Bitcoin pump. Okay, so at some point we might see Bitcoin guard candling somewhere, even if it's from lower levels. But if it does do that, that dominance is obviously going to rip. So it doesn't always mean complete downside for everything. But in terms of you know, what's going to happen with the altcoins, at some point we get reversals on dominance, and you can see even these small little moves do give us a little bit of action on these alts. So it's not all doom and gloom. And if we do get these moves, we will have periods of time where we get 10, 15, 20% bounces in these altcoins. So it's not like we're just going to go straight down. Noel says, I'm an unadulterated moron. I just keep buying. Noel, just hang in there, bro. I must tell you, it took everybody by surprise. Popcat at 16 cents. I can't say there's anyone here that thought Popcat in such a short space of time was going to go to 16 cents. When I show you the WIF chart today, you're going to be also shocked, okay? Because we might even be going lower on WIF as well. So yeah, I mean, a lot of things, a lot of bad dark shit happen, guys. But you know what? It's crypto and it does bounce back. So hang in there. Total 3. Again, an update from yesterday. We've been saying for the last week now, after we had that dump, we cannot turn super bullish on alts until we start breaking these types of horizontals. Now, that chart looks like ETH. It looks at like a ton of other altcoins at the moment. So that is your main resistance of total 3. And all that you are witnessing now is a typical wick fill. Now, we've started the wick fill here. Let's see what these other alts are doing. But you can see in terms of total 3, this thing is still trending down. And we might have a situation over the next few days where we get this whole fill here before we get our next big long. So that is still on the table for us. Chris says, buy the fucking dippity dip, but the dip keeps dipping, bro. What do we do if the dip keeps dipping? And I mean, my strategy at the moment is that these alts are going to hold the lows. So if they dip below those lows, I mean, we're going to have to reload some of these trading accounts. But that is what I'm going for. And I obviously want to see these lows hold, at least for bounces and at least for some short-term moves is what I want out of this stuff. Okay, let's go. So ETH, this is what I wanted James to help me on. Cointelegraph said, ETH supply has grown by 455,000 ETH since April 24. Returning to pre-London upgrade levels from 21. The shift has effectively ended its deflationary trend. Now, James, can you just, again, I'm putting you on the spot here, but like, wasn't ETH supposed to be in the deflationary and now it's fucked? What's going on?
It used to be, but the problem is they're making more tokens, right? They keep mining the tokens, they're flooding the market. And unfortunately, so that cuts the price because you're adding more tokens with the same amount of liquidity. But then you've got the ETH Foundation keeps dumping the damn things. Right? I mean, you've pointed out before in previous shows, seems like every time we get to a top, just before we turn over, they sell the freaking top every time. And they just keep dumping. And that's how they fund their operation, but it's too much selling pressure. No, yeah. Conversely, though, you've got all these big people buying it. BlackRock's buying it. Trump's buying it. There's tons of buying, and it still isn't helping the price. And this could be why, because they're flooding the market.
So what they're going to do at some point, okay, they're going to fill their bags, okay? All these big players, they're going to fill their bags. Then they're going to go to the market makers and they're going to say, okay, it's time. And they're going to send up a fucking ETH guard candle. And then we're going to ride and they're going to sell it into all of us retail that were buying ETH. Okay, that is actually what is going to happen. I mean, that's the reality of what is going to go down. So when they pull the trigger, when they decide it's time to go up, they'll phone their friends and say, okay, send it up, let's go. And then they're going to be exiting while we longing ETH at 5, 6, 7K. Okay, and good for them. Okay, that's nice for them. As long as we make sure, guys, that we are getting out with profits, okay, as we are taking profits, as long as we know that information that they are going to be doing that to
Don't
us.
buy the top.
Don't buy the top. Well, fuck, we'll try and identify the top. But I mean, I remember in 21, we were so bullish on Phantom. We were taking longs on Phantom at like 2.8, 2.9. I mean, we literally believe Phantom was going to 10. Okay, and now it's called Sonic. I mean,
and what's it, 20 cents or something?
No, yeah, it's absolute dog show now. Absolute dog show. Okay, let's get back into the business. Let's get into some altcoins, guys, and let's see what's potting here. Okay. So the ETH plan is still unchanged for me. Mikkel says, when is short squeeze? I think it's coming, guys. Everyone's over shorting at the moment. And who says they're balding on their eyebrows there? What was that? I'm balding on my eyebrows. Lord, what's going on there? Okay, so guys, in terms of ETH, you know my sentiments here. I wasn't happy with this chop. This chop it's not fun for anybody. Okay, unless you're a scalper, that's a different game. Okay, you can see what's going on here. It's squeezing in between these VWAPs. It's very interesting. Okay, we're squeezing in between these VWAPs. There's something coming here on ETH. Now, we can't say if it's up, we can't say if it's down, but it's an absolute mess. Sally says, Brett is at a new all-time low. Fuck me. Okay, that is not going to be nice. Okay, we'll have to, James, did Brett hit a new all-time low? Now, Jesus. Okay, we'll take a look. Okay. Okay, but let's break down ETH on the 1 hour. So we've skipped ETH on the higher time frame. We know the picture with ETH. We understand this was a major weekly level. We know that low hit a big zone for us. That's a weekly level just above 2,100. Now the game plan was, what do? We know that these guys like to come and fill the wicks, and we know that there's a lot of chop in between and a slow bleed. So for me, the plan hasn't changed for ETH, and it's quite frustrating that we've seen other tokens now wick onto these levels, and ETH is actually holding. So right now for me, you can see ETH has got VWAP support here. We've nearly got a 1 hour reversal, but we don't have it yet. So for me, first prize on terms of a 1 hour sort of degen type situation, you're looking for that type of dip or double dip into the lows on that oscillator. And ideally that is going to take you into a nice reaction area for ETH. So, in terms of a first zone is going to be 2,600. That is where I'd expect something. If we get a little dip now on Bitcoin into that type of area, that could make sense to me. Then obviously we've got 2.5 and we've got 2.4. But in terms of ETH holding relative to other tokens, I'm actually quite surprised. It's doing a lot better at the moment. So strategy here for me on ETH is 2.6 and 2.4. Those are the big zones of interest there for me. And you can see I've got my long setup here for 2,400. So that would be a nice sweat out and then a big strong push higher. So a little bit patient here on ETH. And then you can see in terms of resistance here in front of us, you can see my quantum reactor is coming into play now as resistance. It's been actually working quite nicely on a lot of other alts as well. And in terms of what we need to look for, when can we turn a little bit more bullish on ETH? Well, we need to crack through this major 2.8 to 2.9 zone. We know that is a major level, and that is really what it is for us on ETH. If we're going to stay bullish, that is pretty much where we need to be. So until that happens, until we get some kind of support above 2.8 or that dip down into these types of levels here, for me, it's patience on ETH. That's essentially what it is. And you're going to look for potential shorts. Any pushes into the 200-day MA could be fake out moves to the upside. It could be short-term pumps. That could be a potential head short for you. And then the next region is going to be 3,300, those types of areas. And I've just marked them here, major possible rejection zones. So just look out there. Yes, sir.
I just looked at red. It is ugly. It's already down below 50% of that wick from the previous low. It's plummeting.
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have a long open, do you?
No, I had to cut it. Yeah,
Okay,
it was full. It was full. It was full. Guys, I had that massive breath long. I had so much conviction on that breath. I couldn't take the pain anymore. I had to cut it. They were just ending me. Okay, so ETH, that is the game plan. Okay, unchanged now until we get some kind of action. And again, if we push into these zones, what does it tell us? It tells us a lot of these alts are going to be pumping. So you're going to be faced with an opportunity. If ETH is pushing into that big resistance zone I've just shown you, you're going to see a lot of alts that you might be long on starting to push into resistance as well. That is going to be TP zones typically, or alternatively, that's going to be head short zones for you guys. Or alternatively, you can hang on to those longs in the hope that it pops through, and then you can add onto the size of the position. So remember, try and have a three-pronged approach there with some of your longs. Don't have one position, because then you get caught, you get caught trying to make decisions there. So have a few positions. Once you hit those zones, you take profit on some, you add to others to try and grow the size, and then you can start opening some potential head shorts in case there is a rejection down. At some point, the market turns longer-term bullish, and then we are really going to enjoy the ride. But right now, it's filth, guys. It's absolute filth. There's no other way to explain it. Ali Chart says, this is the moment for absolute conviction. Do you short SOL to 150, or do you trust the parallel channel holds and go long to 350? What is your move? Okay, and this is interesting for me because we've been looking at SOL in detail for the last few months. We look at it every single day. So the first step for me is, let's look at SOL versus Bitcoin on the weekly. Let's try and see. Okay, we know SOL is moving on to major horizontal support at the moment. We're going to look at that chart now. But in terms of SOL versus Bitcoin, it's dipping onto major horizontal weekly support. We are effectively moving into our bounce zone versus Bitcoin. Okay, that is quite interesting for me. So SOL versus BTC, if we use history as a guide, the last few times we've hit these zones, we've had quite a strong bounce on SOL versus Bitcoin. Is this time different? Maybe, but until that happens, we cannot be too bearish on SOL versus BTC. We are moving into bounce country. Okay, so with that information at hand, what can we do here? Here's SOL. And yesterday, we jumped into our first bounce zone, and we got in fact, it was looking promising today because we had a nice bounce. We hit our zone here yesterday, that 190, what were we, 196. We pinged that zone, had a nice little bounce this morning or in the dead of the night, nice push up, but then today couldn't hold again. That Bitcoin rejection sends it lower. And what are we looking at now? So again, we back at the point where we want to see Sol print either a higher low or fill that wick. And this is unchanged for me, okay? This is still going to be my big area for me on Sol, and that is anything from our 200-day moving average down to the lows. So that is anything from, say, 184 down to 174. That is going to be first prize that we hold those areas. I've obviously got my eyes on this 12-hour. You can see there's potential reversals there. And Syed says, who can dare to long the market? Syed, it's who can dare to trade anything at the moment in this market? It's, if you look at that chop, it's like there's shorts, there's longs, and they're just chopping. So unless you have long-term conviction here, that's probably an easier ride for you, because then you're just accumulating. If you're looking for a quick gain, well, we need to really keep our eyes on this BTC situation and the dominance. And Tindo says it's a jungle out there. And Adam says he wants Sui so bad. Yeah, I mean, yes, it could go lower. And from this position says long or death. Okay, so guys, here's the moment. Okay, we've had a dump on Sol. If we are going to bounce, you can see I've got a nice macro trend in play as well. And that is effectively going to be your bounce zone you're looking at. And I think if we actually dial in a little bit more and start looking at our fibs from the lows of the dump to the high, we can see we've actually got 786 confluence here as well. Look at that, 184. So I've got 786, 200-day MA, horizontal clusters, rising trend. I've got an almost reset 12-hour. I'm not uncomfortable there on Sol. Okay, so in terms of what I'm looking for, I think we get a bounce there on Sol, and that ties in to BTC versus Sol as well. Okay, so not against that. Remember, all these charts go straight into Chart Hackers directly after the show, including the setups that Dave is going to bang out for you guys in a couple of secs. What you got? Beam. You've got what else?
I've got 𝗬𝗓. And somebody asked about DNA, so I'll just talk about that for 30 seconds.
You know, okay, cool. We're going to just hang around. Okay, let's go. Let's talk bearer chain. In fact, I need James. James, do you know what this bearer chain is? No, I think Chaos was telling me about this thing. So bearer chains launched this massive airdrop today, okay, and I think it's a typical situation where if you're crazy enough, you can try and short this thing and probably be successful, okay. And so this bearer chain thing, you saw this on Banter Bubble. This thing was 17% up. There's a lot of hoo-ha around it, but then I found this interesting post from Hugo, and he says, I think this is the ultimate grift, L1. It's a pure fork that brings nothing to the table. It's almost as useless as Blast. It's just another VC insider grift, people wanting to get rich off ETH tech. Okay, so
translation: dog shit.
Dog shit. Okay. Chaos says it's dog shit, guys. Okay, Chaos says it's absolute dog shit. You can do the rest of your reading if you want, but you know, that's essentially what it is. It's been launched. Okay, I wouldn't touch this thing. This is the 5-minute chart. Fuck, let it do what it needs to do. So anyone interested in this thing, in terms of what I'm looking for, I know a lot of guys like to short these things when they get launched, and you can see what happens. They get launched on exchange, they pump up, and then they get sent to hell, and then everybody sells their airdrop tokens and blah, 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 and it gets messy like Pengu.
And I spent so much time mining this crap and doing the steps and going every day, and nothing. I didn't even qualify after all of that. Is such dog shit. Garbage.
Well, Tindo shorted it. That's the spirit, sir.
Short it to hell.
Scott says, where can we short it? So, Scott, this is the 5-minute chart. This is your problem. So, you know, everyone's got the same. The same idea here. And this is Mexi, and there's perps on Bybit. I think there's perps on a couple of others as well. So it's all over the place. It's available. And Gabriel says, link, it's ready. Okay, well, let's take a look. So let's see if I'm going to get ended by Peppy and Fartcoin. Okay, so I've used L-Bank, and I've used my trading bonus that they are giving out, okay, for all the L-Bank users that are signing up to my link in the exchange. I've bought some Fartcoin, and I've got an order lower down in case we get some more action as well, and I've started buying Peppy. Okay, so here we go. My first few trades on L-Bank. We are cooking at the moment. Remember, for those of you that watched yesterday, L-Bank is giving you, viewers of my show, a special offer. Okay, they want you to get on the exchange, and most importantly for you, you put in $100, you get $50 bonus. You put in 500, you get $250. You put in 1,000, they give you 500 USDT trading bonus. Okay, so I've used that for my fart coin, and I'm starting to build some Peppy as well. They're even going to give you $30 if you want a KYC. Now, you don't have to KYC, but they want to give you $30 for that. So just go into the show description if you want some 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 action, and you can trade these tokens with me on 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. So there is the link. Just go down to the link, click on it. They said the first 800 get that 30 USD for KYC verification. Now, remember, if you are a member of 𝗙𝗏𝗥𝗧𝗏, you are getting a different 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 deal, which is slightly better. Okay, you're getting a better trading bonus that they are giving you if you're an existing member. And then if you're not an existing member of 𝗙𝗏𝗥𝗧𝗏, if you sign up to this 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 link here in the description, you're going to get an email that's going to give you a 10% discount on 𝗙𝗏𝗥𝗧𝗏. Okay, so welcome, guys. I'm trying to cater for everybody here, and that is the deal. Okay, with 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. So get trading with me here. You can see I've started these positions. I don't want to get rinsed on Fartcoin. I'm going to talk to you about this thing. It's still a suspected rinse, but I think we got an opportunity here. So here is Fartcoin. Okay, this is it on the daily. And why is this interesting to me? So what I've done now on 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is I've opened a 5x leverage long on Fartcoin. And there, it's 5x. You can go there to the bottom. You can see there at the bottom there, it's 5x leverage. And I've bought my first buy. I've got another order waiting on Fartcoin a little bit lower down there at 0.4. Okay, I've got another order on 5x waiting for that buy. And my conviction here is that the sell-off is getting close to an end. We know that Fartcoin is one of the most volatile tokens out there, so you can get absolutely rinsed. Okay, and Adam, what are you saying, bro? Peppy is so sketchy that just... You're getting rinsed again. Okay, we're going to talk about it. We're talking about it. Okay, so Fartcoin, guys, you can see this is the daily chart moving into a massive level here. And I don't want to miss this opportunity. So I'm prepared to throw some money at this, take some risk. And obviously, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 gave me a sign-up bonus there that I'm contributing towards the setup. And I'm going to build this position down to 0.4. And most likely, if we close under 3.5, that is most likely the invalidation, okay, where you're going to get rinsed. But what I'm looking at here is effectively this dump, bang, into that zone, and then a nice healthy bounce. I'm talking 30, 40, 50% bounce on Fartcoin, okay? So that is what I'm going for. I'm taking that risk on because I'm looking for 30 to 50% there, and I want to ladder in. And Vito says it seems stinky. Yeah, it does. It is a bit stinky, but there's nothing better than hanging with your friends and trading farts. It's the absolute best thing you can do together if you're in the same room or wherever you want to. Okay, so trade some farts with me if you guys want to, and let's move on to the next token. Okay, remember this will be in 𝗙𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 after the show. Now, let's go Ondo. Is this going to rinse us? Are we getting too convinced that there's going to be so much news on Ondo that this thing is going to pump? Now, I can tell you at some point, if this relentless selling in the market continues, I don't think Ondo can hold on for much longer. So in terms of my current Ondo trade, you can see we are on our major support. We had another strong bounce yesterday off that 100-day MA that I gave you, and we are back at it again. Okay, now, but what is looking bearish? Ooh, I don't like that. Okay, I don't like that on Ondo at the moment. Not the best vibe, okay? I'm not feeling super excited about what I'm seeing here, but in terms of a bounce zone, it's bounced here yesterday. Let's play it again, okay? So I'm going to add a little bit to my Ondo position here, looking for the bounce off this horizontal. We need the bulls to step in. We need Bitcoin to bounce, okay? And then we can start thinking of bigger things. But it is a big news week for Ondo. And that is why we are taking chances on this thing and trying to keep this one alive. Okay, so let's see if we can get that. So your 100-day MA, or call it 1.27, that's your support. Lower down, 1.13. Those are your support levels that you want to watch. And Artemis says Trump bought Ondo. When did he buy that? And I see 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is going down, apparently. And Baldwin says, Sui.
That's 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, man. That's an AI agent, and it just died. 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏? It's zero, bro. Gone. Done. Forget it.
Okay, let's go. Breaking news. We saw this yesterday. Okay, we spoke about Litecoin yesterday. I'm just reminding you, they are filing to convert their Grayscale LTC Trust into a spot Litecoin ETF. We know that, okay? And I gave you the options yesterday as to how you could play this. So anyone that was looking for longs yesterday, I said we're looking for a candle close below the 100-day MA to invalidate. Just look how beautiful this shit is, okay? Look at that. Look at that. They drop you below. and they push it straight back up. Okay, so look at that little pin bar there. And that is why we often look for candle closes, because these guys come and they try and flush you in these big zones. They take your money and then they send it up. Okay, that is why we look at candle closes. Yes, sir.
Thanks for the heads up here, Artemis. Yeah, it says here Cointelegraph reporting that Trump's World Liberty Financial has begun buying Ondo 12 minutes ago. Hold on to that long.
Buy some Ondo. Buy some Ondo. Okay. Buy some Ondo, guys. Your support. Okay. Just a quick reminder. Invalidation is 1.2, close under 1.27, or you're looking at 1.12. Now, we have seen in the past, if the market can just stay a little bit bullish, this thing should start pumping. Okay. Okay. Litecoin. We said if you want to be long, close under 100-day MA. Yeah, okay, look at that wick. They send it straight back up. Little scalp, but what did we know as well yesterday? We knew this was a major resistance zone for us. We knew this was a trouble zone for us for Litecoin, and that obviously offered potential shorts in that area. And again, not reinventing the wheel, looks very similar to Bitcoin. We had our 50-day MA in the way. We had our horizontals. We had our 0.5. We knew that was a resistance zone. And now in terms of the 2-hour, this thing is pushing lower. And in terms of Litecoin, you know, with the current look on this 2-hour oscillator, Litecoin's actually holding pretty well considering what is going on in the market. So again, but we are under major resistance, so no changes there until Litecoin reclaims as support 105 to 110. Once we break up here, then we can say, okay, we are getting bullish on Litecoin again. But until then, that is resistance for us. We can't argue with what we are seeing there. Okay, so any more pumps on Litecoin, you can also look again, a possible short in those types of regions there until proven otherwise. And let's see, Kung Fu, he says, time to find a part-time job. Let's just see here, because I see, look at it, Mackie D's. Look at it, it's 1.6% up today. Maybe.
They just put out a statement, said they're full. No more crypto bros. Fully employed now. They got no open positions left.
Bros. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Let's go. What else I got next? Okay. I want to talk about the tokens that whales are buying. Okay. What are whales buying? Can you believe this shit? Okay. Spot on Chain says, okay, this is what my tile was about. In case you guys are wondering, like, what's this guy's show about? Why is he saying this in the tile? What is he talking about? This is it. Okay. Can you believe this shit? Whales are scooping up 𝗬𝗢𝗘 and 𝗡𝗢𝗙 from Binance. Okay, some guy withdrew $3.7 million worth of 𝗡𝗢𝗙. Who buys $3.7 million worth of 𝗡𝗢𝗙? Some other guy, Whale A3K, returned after 2 years. He withdrew $5 million of 𝗬𝗢𝗓. Okay, so something's going down here. Another one withdrew $7 million of 𝗬𝗢𝗓. They're taking it off exchanges. Interesting. Okay, so let's start with 𝗡𝗢𝗙. And again, this trade or this setup is directly linked to your bias that the lows are going to hold. If you believe the lows are going to hold, then this is a trade setup for you. All that fear that you felt and watching this thing bleed out, we are now moving into the zone we wanted. We are now moving into the wick fill zone. And if we get a dump, what happens afterwards? They pump it up. They come back and fill the wick. If all is well, we get a double bottom or a 618 and they send it higher. That is just generally what tends to happen. And this is our moment now for 𝗡𝗢𝗙. We are moving into the area. Here's your rising trend. There's your 786 on the retest. And this is your region now. Again, if you are buying spot, this is the type of area you start laddering in. You can see my 3-day is looking like it wants to start reversing. That obviously can take time. It could take weeks. But in terms of that thing at the bottom, that is a very good start for us there. So 𝗡𝗢𝗙 looking nice. I would say you can look for buyers on the higher time frame. You can start looking at DCAing in these zones. You can see I've started doing that on LBank. Okay, I've started a 𝗡𝗢𝗙 position, so I'm going to explain it to you in more detail on a lower time frame. So right now you can see 𝗡𝗢𝗙 anything from say 927 down to 79 or 927 down to 8. Okay, looks like a reasonable zone. And in terms of a bounce, we're not going to get too greedy here. What we want to see is we want to see these lows hit and we want to see some kind of push. But we don't have to necessarily say, oh, we're going to hold this thing to 13 or we're going to hold this thing to 16. We don't have to do that. What we want to do is just build our position here. Let's get some momentum on this thing. If there is momentum and it starts playing out, we're going to raise our stop and then we are going to add to that position and then we're going to see what happens with 𝗡𝗢𝗙. But right now, it's about surviving the lows and getting some kind of entry. Now, this is what I love doing. And Adam says, should I long Ondo right now? Adam, bro, it's up to you. Okay, I'm already long Ondo, and I'm trying to hold the Ondo position. And these are your levels. Okay, this chart will be in chart hackers, 1.27, 1.26. Lower down, you got 1.12. Okay, watch those levels there, Adam. Okay, can I finish? Can I finish? Yeah. Okay, so here is Peppy for the degens. Now, you've already seen for the spot traders, for the low lev guys, there's your plan. For the degens, it's slightly more difficult because you're taking on risk because you're trading higher leverage. Okay, so you got to look after yourselves when you play these things. So just be careful. What you can do is watch your 1 hour charts. You can look for reversals on 1 hour, try and tie it in to certain key levels. And you can see in terms of entry number 1 for that LBAC trade for me on Peppy, this is zone of interest number 1. Okay, looking for something here and then that push higher. So this is 927, looking for some kind of action here. You can see we've got a wick here. They might want to come take out that wick as well. So just look for those lows in that region. Then if we start bleeding a little bit lower down, we know, okay, in terms of if this happens today, we know this thing will start pressing a little bit lower or turning up and creating some kind of divergence. And that is what we're going to look for. And then we'll look for that secondary dip into that type of region. Okay, that's probably going to be your 786 that you're going to be looking at, and that's going to have some kind of confluence with that bigger level that I showed you as well. So let's look at that. Okay, so something along those lines. You want to look for confluence. Where does it tie in with other horizontals? Where does it tie in, with bigger levels here on these types of things? Look at that. We've got a ton of daily levels here. There, similar. Okay, look at that confluence there as well. So there's a lot talking to us in this area that we should get reactions on Peppy. So that is why I'm taking on some risk here. And that is why I'm starting to build this Peppy position. My bias is the lows hold. If the lows don't hold, guys, again, if the lows don't hold, we get fucking stopped. Okay, that's how it works. And if you're feeling fearful, these are normally the moments where you take on risk. If it fails, well, we'll try again another day. Okay, Davey, I want to talk with, and then I want some of your stuff. Okay, I want some of your stuff. And what are these guys shouting in the chats? What's going to hell here? What are they talking about?
Was this Cerebro? There's the one guy in the chat's been spamming the chat the whole time. Cerebro, please look at Cerebro. I imagine he's upside down on Cerebro really badly because he's
we'll look at Cerebro. Okay, we'll look at Cerebro. Let me just get through a couple of things here. Okay, so guys, Peppy, you see the deal. Okay, that's that. Let's talk WIF. Now this thing looks fucking, excuse my language, guys, but this looks disgusting. Okay, at the moment, if you look at these levels, this is WIF on the 3-day, and this is absolute filth. That we are looking at here. Look at this thing. Your next big level on WIF is 5.4, and then your next zone is 40. Okay, so if we lose these lows, it's not good. Okay, it's really not good for WIF. So is there a potential trade for WIF? Yes. If we calling these lows to hold, that's another 10% dip on WIF. But in terms of going lower, that's 27 to 42% still potential downside on WIF. Okay, so that is on the table. Let's not say that is not a possibility. That is a massive, massive level for us. This is WIF on the 3-day. Okay, in terms of a bounce, when we get the bounce, it's going to be a thing of beauty. These are the moves you're looking for. You're gonna have the most euphoric 100%, 150%, 200% bounce at some point on WIF. Okay, but just don't do your entire load. Okay, on okay, just save some powder just in case this thing goes lower. Now, in terms of lower time frames, okay, understanding our bigger picture where this tells us that could be a magnet lower down, but understanding, the flavor of the market where we might be holding lows and things like that. In terms of WIF, these are typically your zones that you're looking at. Okay, so here we've got a nice cluster. Look at that. Okay, beautiful cluster here, 6896. You've also got this region here, 7341. So you might see some kind of consolidation today. Depends what Bitcoin starts doing. Or alternatively, that's also a region where you can start looking for a couple of degen plays. Let's just take a look at some of our order blocks here on the lower time frames. Let's see if we've got some action here. Okay, we've got a little order block lower down on that 15 minutes. So this tells us that, if there's going to be a potential reversal on the short term, Now, there might be a short-term reversal. Look at that 15 minutes. There might be something here for you on WIF between 734 and these and the 786 here at 689. So there might be something here for you on the short term, and then anything can happen. Once there's momentum back in the market, that's a different story. So if there is a trade available, it's going to be as simple as this. Okay, it's going to be like this. Let's say this thing bounces here. If there is a trade available, that's it. Okay, that is your move. Then you're looking at lower. Okay, you're looking at a potential short at these regions. So just look out. You can short these trends here all the way up. Okay, so keep it simple. And that is going to play into the setup that I've got on Hyperliquid for you as well. So any pumps here, there's a possible short. I mean, it's going to look something along these lines. And this could be one of your head short zones as well. Okay, so if you do catch a move, wherever it bounces from, that could be something you're looking at. So 785 up to about, say, 82, that could be a potential short zone there for you on WIF. And you can play that downtrend then until it gets broken. At some point, the downtrend gets broken and then it flips super bullish. And that is where those other tokens that you are holding on to, you can start adding to as you go. And then you can start growing those positions. So just have a balanced plan. And also, if the bounce isn't here, the bounce should be there. Okay, and then you're going to look for that short up there as well. Okay, so that is pretty much the setup, and that's the idea. Trump equals emoji turds. What's going on here? Okay, Dave, you've been so patient, and thanks for hanging here. Show me some magic, please, sir.
Let's do it. How's everybody doing? Happy Thursday.
Is it a happy Thursday? Mark is fucking falling over.
Happy Thursday. Got to stay positive. Attract the wins. So yeah, somebody was asking about ENA. This is actually the first setup I sent Dylan this morning. We like to collaborate a lot here on what we're seeing in the market, but just really a lot of nice things on the TA side of things. I don't know what's happening fundamentally. I did hear that Trump owns some ENA. But we got a 786 fib, and then we had a confirmed momentum line on that dip from Monday. And this is also a very nice horizontal. So you can see some price action that happened here on the 1st of July, 21st of July, and then here on the 7th of November. And so here we are again. And with these market conditions, there's these massive wicks that you got to watch out for. Like if you, a lot of them really, I mean, and I was saying this on the session on Tuesday that I think that we're going to come and fill these wicks. And so here we are almost filling the wick. And so let me just dial in a little bit on the ENA. How far away are we from that wick? 6%. So just be aware of that. I have an alert set personally here at 0.4849. So whether whatever your strategy is, low leverage, spreading your 1% risk, 2% risk, whatever it is, with multiple orders in this zone makes a lot of sense. And then if you get a candle close below 4.4554, I would say this is invalidated. But the two setups that really look nice, the first one was Beam. So Beam, we are at a weekly horizontal. You can see here about November 2023. We had some resistance at this level. And then come around to the 4th of August dumps, we had visited this horizontal again. And from that horizontal, we had this massive run, about a 300% run. And then here we are again. We are back at the horizontal. So zooming in here, one thing that I do like about Beam is that we have a 6-hour bullish divergence with a blue reversal dot. So the blue reversal dot is the thing that I like to see with Chart Prime. However, we're talking about this wick situation once again. So this is the wick from Monday. We're not quite filling it just yet, but we are close to a 786. And just understand there's a 10% drop down to this wick, okay? But I don't see Beam going too much lower unless the dominance goes up and we're going for lower levels. But again, same situation. I think spot is a very simple play here, or 3x leverage, 4x leverage. I wouldn't do the 20x leverage, because if you're 20x leverage, you're liquidated right here, right? So be smart with how you're going to spread your risk. Again, 1%, 2% risk of the trade. Spread out your orders, order here, order here, order here, catch the move, right? That's the strategy. That's the concept. And then this second, or the third one here that I had spotted was 𝗬𝗬𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪. Okay, so I'm pretty sure 𝗬𝗢 is still a thing, right? So that means 𝗬𝗬𝗟𝗡 is still a thing. So found this really nice horizontal level here. And you can see the confluence. We had some resistance here, resistance, support, and here we are again. But one thing that stands out to me in this situation is that I've got an anchor VWAP drop from the absolute low from the 10th of June 2023. So it's interesting to see this anchored VWAP go all the way to price action right now. And guess what? We are sitting on top of it right now.
Bro, you're giving me FOMO here. So am I buying Beam and am I buying 𝗬𝗬𝗟 as well? Are we in our zone yet? Are we?
I mean, these are opportunities, right? You guys were saying everyone's fearful, but I mean, that's when you go in and you buy, right? You're like showing whales accumulating tokens right now, like people, you know, Trump organization buying Ondo right now, right? So people are buying in these market conditions, and usually these are the best times to buy. So one thing that does stand out as well with 𝗬𝗬𝗟𝗡 is that we have 3 bullish divergences. These are not hidden bullish divergences. These are actual bullish divergences with a blue reversal dot on the 12-hour. That to me seems amazing. So zooming in here, yeah, the spider web. But look at this situation. Okay, so the wick is down here, and how far away are we from that? About 6%. So same situation. You know, just be smart with your risk. I think spot. This is an amazing spot play. I think 2x, 3x leverage, 4x leverage makes a lot of sense. Once we get confirmation of the move, obviously you can raise your leverage, add some more size, and then build your position and try to catch it.
Where do you cut though? If you're wrong, where do you cut? What is your plan here?
Yeah, so look, if price action starts to go below here, this horizontal, and we start drifting here, and I would say a 4-hour candle close below this zone, then cut the position, get out. Right. So
okay, I think, so guys, you heard that 4-hour candle close. So don't play massive leverage here. Play it safe. Okay. Small position, big move. You can do those types of things. If you're cutting, ideally wait for the candle close. Dave likes a 4-hour candle close. So a lot of bullshit can happen underneath that, but watch, zoom out, look at the 4-hour, see what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, this anchored VWAP seems amazing to me. I mean, I love anchored VWAPs, and I've been telling everybody in the sessions with chart hackers, like sometimes that's all you need is just an anchored VWAP for the long or the short. But for now, this looks amazing to me. There's a lot of things saying, hey, this is a potential bottom. This, you know, again, I could be wrong. This could be, you could be headed for lower levels. Obviously, you see some horizontal situations down here and some more levels down here. But this one's a clear invalidation, right? Like if we lose this horizontal, we lose the anchored VWAP, Bitcoin's going down to 83K, like cut your position, right? So, but yeah, no, just like in summary, we talked about, you know, how Mondays, if we have a bullish Monday, typically it's a bearish week. We noticed that like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And so here we are in the sea of red for a couple days. And, you know, hopefully this is the bottom and we get some kind of relief bounce from Asia for Asia Open and maybe have some kind of pumpy weekend. We'll see. So, but that's what I have for you guys here today.
Nice, bro. Thank you. So, guys, okay, obviously, here's Brett. You guys want some Brett? I've got some Brett action for you. If you want some of these charts, they are in Chart Hackers. Now, Dave is doing a live trading session in Chart Hackers now after the show. So if you like what he's talking about and you like the things he's doing, we'll get into Chart Hackers. How do you get into Chart Hackers? Go to the link in the show description, go directly to Chart Hackers, sign up there, or sign up to L-Bank and get 10% off your first month on Chart Hackers. So just a reminder, there it is, okay, under there, okay, there it is, under the show description. Everything I talk about is there for you guys. Okay, Dave, hang if you want, or you need to prep, you can hang, it's up to you.
I'll hang and I'm going to prep at the same time.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, if I need you, I'll call you. So, hype. I've also got hype for you guys. Let's see where we are. Okay, let me just let's get my bearings here. Let's see where we are. Now, this was weird for me. I wanted to talk about Bonk because I saw this from AIXBT, and he's talking about 2 trillion Bonk burn proposal confirmed for Lunar New Year. Now, it's weird because I thought Lunar New Year has already happened. So, forgive me, or for AIXBT, who seems to be wrong. I don't know. But guys, let me know in the chats if anybody has any other information. Am I missing something? But I thought Lunar New Year was like a week ago. Okay, so AIXBT is talking about a burn confirmed. Let's look at Bonk. Bonk on the weekly. I think it's time we had a look properly at this thing and just kind of break down what is going on. You can see from the highs to the lows, we've done 75%. Okay, doesn't mean we can't dump another 75%. Wouldn't that be fun? But in terms of a potential bounce, we know, and I've shown you how many charts this week that have hit our macro 786s. We are not quite there yet. So in terms of a weekly chart or a daily chart, there might be more downside. And what does that look like? Well, for example, you can see this rising trend. We've now lost it. That is a little bit bearish. So if we do fill some of these wicks here, I anticipate some kind of bounce and then maybe a second bite at that 786. So that is the plan. Don says Lunar New Year is 15 days away. Why did it say 28th of January or something, James? Or maybe James will figure that one out for me. Jan 29, Lunar New Year, maybe next year. Yeah, guys, okay, solve the puzzle.
The New Year's already happened, but I think there's some sort of celebration there for a longer period of time. It's not a single day, right? That they celebrate for a 2-week period, I think, if I remember right. I think Jason was telling me that because he lives over in Vietnam.
Okay, and Baldy says Lunar New Year is 15 days long. Okay, guys, thank you. I can really rely on you guys in the chat, so I appreciate that. Thank you guys for saving that. Okay, so just in terms of a plan for Bonk, you can see the long-term picture says short-term bounce, whatever that is. That could be in a week or two. Bounce, and then a rejection. And this tells us a story, more downside possibly for Bonk, and we're going to be buying it at 13. Okay, this also tells us if we get a pump, take profits. Okay, and here we go. This is cute. So this is what I've been looking at today. I was looking at Popcat and Bonk, and these are the types of levels I dropped in Chart Hackers today. And this is nice. Okay, so Bonk bouncing off our order block and 618. Now we've zoomed into the 15 minutes. You can see we've got a 618 and order block in play. I've got my 15-minute telling us short-term reversal, and those were the signs, why I dropped in Chart Hackers saying we could be getting a short-term bounce. Now, in terms of what happens with Bonk, look, bigger picture, my story, potential bounce to the rejection and then lower down. How do we deal with this short term? So you can see immediately where your problem zones are, and you can see immediately where your rejection zones are. So this is almost a non-euphoria zone. If you start pumping into these types of zones here, 177, 178, be careful up here. That is a rejection zone where we could be potentially going lower. Look out. Then we've got order blocks and VWAP a little bit higher at 18. So just be careful. That whole region is a danger zone. So if you are scalping long now on any of these tokens, that is where you're going to be exiting for TP. If it breaks further, okay, so say you have conviction and you hold a few, it breaks through there, you can add on that retest. Okay, that's going to be your secondary trade. But until we break through there, you just want to be careful on any bounces. So in terms of Bonk right now, key support 165, watch that zone. Anywhere in that order block, your next big level lower down, 155. Okay, but nice to see, again, chart prime oscillators talking to us. Look at that little reversal there on the 15 minutes in a nice little order block, and bang, tied in with a 618. Thank you very much for a small little bounce. Okay, appreciate your work there. Now, let's talk Pudgy Penguins. Today, we burned 13% of Pengu. Okay, if anyone's been wondering what the fuck's been going on with this thing, 𝗙𝗓𝗟 wrote a little story for you guys. He said, I've seen quite a few posts dunking on Luca and Pengu recently, which I think is ridiculous. He's given you a little write-up and explanation here as to what is going on. Okay, now, Pengu, for me, anyone who's looking to buy this thing, remember, this was a massive airdrop. Everybody's obviously sold their tokens, and we've had a massive sell-off. If you're interested in this thing, I would say you've got so much time here. A lot can happen. Wait for this trend break. So all you need to do on your charts is draw a trend from the highs on the 6th of January, bring it all the way down. Just be patient. Let this thing chop around. Let it do what it needs to do. I think if there's going to be a momentum shift, it's typically going to be at this bigger 4-hour trend here. Look for that eventually to come into play. So I wouldn't rush into this thing just yet. At the same time, you're looking at your 4-hour oscillator. You typically want to see that reset down there, and that should give you an opportunity then at that trend. So Pengu traders, Penguin, Cosmo Dog, he likes commenting. And okay, so Pengu, your lows, watch 999 to 93. Watch that 99 to 93 are your lows. When you break that trend, might be worth having a look. Okay, and what does Rishi say? Please tell about Rune. I'm holding its long position. Rishi, there's problems with Rune, bro. Okay, there's fundamental issues. Now, I'm not saying they can't sort it out or can't fix it, but I think you might be moving into long-term investor vibes if you are holding long positions. I'm currently trying to short every pump that I get from Rune, and until they change fundamentally or they make an announcement that they fixed it and everything like that, I'm expecting this thing to slowly just sell off a little bit more. So that is what I'm going for. And Sasha says Sol is reversing. Okay, well, that's good. And Spizlet says Pengu is going to hell. Now, guys, I want to talk about another one today. Oh, here it is. Okay, so Popcat as well, same story. And you saw earlier I had entered Popcat, and the reason I'd entered Popcat was because we dropped into my zone. Now, this is a zone I gave to chart hackers earlier today. We've moved into our 618, our order blocks, and we've got our 15 minutes showing a reversal. So that tells us we get some kind of relief bounce. Now, again, it doesn't have to be massive. Okay, I mean, look at that. It's tiny. It's 6%, but it's enough to just give you a little breathing room there in terms of some of these tokens. At least you get these bounces in those zones. And obviously, it's a nice scalping tool for anybody who wants to look at 15-minute timeframes and things like that. That's a beauty. Okay, the 15 minutes on good areas. And oh, Money Reaper, I'll bring you Brett, bro. I'll bring you Brett. Yumi says Popcat has been in ICU too long. They all fuck, guys. It's terrible. Okay. So in terms of Popcat, this is the strategy at the moment. These are your options. So what can happen here? You can see Popcat is in a downtrend. That makes sense. And let's see. Make money, travel, enjoy. Met her in Dubai. What a legend. I will see you in Dubai again, I'm assuming. And we can talk chart hackers there. Dave, you'll meet her as well. I'm bringing Dave with me. And we'll all meet you there in Dubai. And Syed says Popcat handbag. Okay. Now, in terms of what you need to do here with these tokens, you can see we are in a clear downtrend. We understand the concept was we've got the dump. We may or may not fill these wicks, and we may or may not bounce. So again, these are our levels that we look for reactions on. And then the real move comes when we break these trends and we get some more momentum going off there. So right now we can build positions on these wick lows or on these areas. And with the conviction or the bias that that was the bottom. If that is the bottom, you can see on the 1 hour, we're getting a reversal now as well. If that is the bottom, then these things typically start moving higher. What I would suggest, if you are if you get a pump and you're sitting in these longs, remember you've got resistance to the upside. So typically what you want to do there is then either look for a take profit or look for a rejection or a head short in an area like that. That could then send you lower, or alternatively be patient and, obviously understand that you can perhaps do a round trip if you want to hold this thing, but then you've got your secondary trade. When it pops there, you're going to get your trend break trade. So remember, I love these entries. These are always the best ones for me because they get me a nice average low entry and they get you a head start in the game. And then when you add on these trend breaks, you are ahead of the curve, okay? And you are cooking. So, little strategy there for you guys. And Tim says, did we do link? Guys, not yet. Guys, yes, we've already on an hour. Oh my God. I mean, I'm just having so much fun. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, let's do one more. Here's hype. So here's a possible short setup for hype traders. Now, again, this is a head short play for you. I'm not saying you have to send this to zero, because if you look at this token relative to others, it's actually been an outperformer. So it has actually done pretty well. You can see we might have a reversal here on the 1 hour time frame. So that tells you this thing might churn higher. So you just need to be careful. But typically what we're looking for here in a setup like this is if I flip this thing over, okay, this is proper degen stuff, but you can see we've got a head and shoulders there. If this was a bullish play, what would we say? We'd say pump and retest and bounce is what we're looking for. So if we do get that push back, that could be a short entry for that move. If that breaks the trend, well, then that idea is invalidated and it's done. Okay, it's off. All bets are off if we lose that trend. So let's flip that thing back. So I just want to give you that. Looking bearish, lost a big level. Now it's retesting. Possible short opportunity to lower levels on hype, and that's all going to depend on how the market behaves. If the market carries on pumping now, hype might join the party, but essentially you're going to be looking for 22 to 21, and you're going to be looking for the wick lows at 20 as your possible targets if that plays out. Okay, so there you go. This will be he's got a short. He says hype short in play. Okay, well, I don't know. Panda, are we long or are we short here, bro? What are you looking at? That is my plan here on this hype. And obviously, if we break this trend, then all bets are off. Okay, then this thing's pumping again, and you can see your invalidation. Remember, you always need to know where you fucked it up. Okay, you got to be honest with yourself when you fuck it up and where you fuck it up, and you got to know where to jump out of your trades. Okay, guys, let's do Brett. Let's do Brett. I don't know how I ended up doing this for an hour.
You can just keep going on and on and on.
Too many charts. Too many charts. Okay, here's Brett. Okay, let's go. So today I gave a plan in Chart Hackers. There were a couple of things going on here. We were looking at the same as PopCat. We were looking at key levels. We were looking at bounce zones here for this. Funnily enough, Brett's like really selling off here. And I wonder if there's news behind this thing, but look how oversold that that 1 hour is at the moment. Let's look at the 15. I mean, Brett's getting rinsed here. Okay, that 15 is trying to reverse now. But guys, in terms of like Bonk and Whiff and the other guys, they actually look a little bit better. This Brett's looking a bit dirty at the moment. I don't like that candle, but what you can see this downtrend. Yes, good.
Is crash dumping his Brett bags finally? Because you know who he is, right?
Remind us.
Crash, he's the young kid, big Twitter influencer. He had millions and millions and millions of dollars in this Brett. He bought like 15K of it back when it was dirt cheap. And his wallet, okay. he was showing his wallet, whatever. I'm sure people track the wallet. They'd know if he's selling anything or not. But he had like $8 million or $10 million worth of Brett at one point because he bought so cheap. And he's been the cheerleader in Twitter and whatever else. Okay. The big KOL.
Okay, so maybe he's offloaded a bit, and I mean you can't blame him. You know, if the market's turning bearish and he wants to protect some of his capital, you can't blame him.
Yeah, he's got to be down millions and millions at this point.
Yeah. So look, you can't blame him if he's holding a massive bag and he's offloading. Oh fuck, it's his right to do that, I guess. Okay, so in terms of Brett, what can happen here with Brett? You can see what I've got going on here. I've got the downtrend. It's going to be the same principle. At some point, we're going to get a snapback bounce on this thing. We got to figure out where the level is. Okay, we got to play this game, and we are going to get some kind of snapback bounce, and you most likely are going to some kind of horizontal like that. Okay, something like that. And then you're going to be looking at, a pump into that type of zone, and then maybe a rejection, or alternatively, you're looking for that. All right. And that is what you're going to be playing at the moment for Brett. So right now, possible bounce here at 42, a resistance zone. Look out, 51. Look out, 58. Those are possible rejection areas for you guys. Okay. Everything will be in Chart Hackers for you. James, Dave. Thank you, guys. Thanks for hanging. You can find them both in Chart Hackers, actually. Thank you, guys. Okay, guys, really, 1 hour, 10 minutes. I apologize for those of you that have to endure an hour and 10 minutes of me rambling on about charts. Apologies. For those that enjoyed it, well, I'm glad I could help. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully they don't kill us. Small positions, big move, low leverage, not ape town yet. We keep it simple. We keep it small. Okay. See you guys later.